So today is stretch and strength. If you have a band or a strap, grab it. We're going to make use of bands. You can probably make do without, but if you have them, they're handy. Today's theme is non-attachment. So today we're going to practice non-attachment with a goal. So we're going to set ourselves a little goal. The pose for today is we're going to work on splits. So we're working on the splits and standing splits. So you have your goal, you know what your goal is, and now we're going to be not attached to that goal. So come on down to your back. And we're starting by landing in the room. So feel yourself on your mat, maybe even feel the edges of your mat. Start to think about your mat being your sacred space. This is your space. Your space where you can just be here right now. Everything else is outside of the mat. It'll be there when you're done. You can take a break. You can soften into your mat, start to arrive. Do a check-in. Notice how your body feels. So we're going to be working on our legs a lot because we're working on splits. So really take a moment to feel your legs. Maybe pull your feet up and down, wiggle your toes. Really feel your legs. Notice what is present there. Maybe notice some tightness, maybe not. And then think a moment about what the pose, the splits pose, or the standing splits pose looks like, what it means to you, what you might want it to look like, what you might have seen in other people, what your expectations are on yourself. And then try to make a little promise to yourself that you're going to let go of all of those things surrounding the pose, surrounding the practice, and just try to have an experience, a journey on your mat, a journey towards something. Letting go of the idea of the goal being the absolute thing that we're working towards, and getting to know the journey along the way. So what are we going to learn on the way towards that goal? And then we're going to bring our feet up to the ceiling, spread our toes, start to think about our legs. So start to pedal your legs, bending one knee and then the other, just starting to really notice what's present in the legs. If you like, you can press your hips down into the ground, just keep your hips stable, and start to bring your feet towards the wall rather than the ceiling, firing up some of your core muscles as well. Notice if your back is doing all the work here. Bring your feet a little higher if you're using your back. Really feeling the legs, maybe starting to hold a long leg and pull on the other, starting to really activate the muscles of the legs. And then bring your knees in, give yourself a little hug. Roll on over to a side, make your way to a tabletop. We're going to move and breathe in tabletop. Inhaling tabletop, exhaling towards child's. And because we are working the legs a lot today, maybe tucking the toes and pressing back into child's with active legs. Just seeing how that feels. Maybe too intense for some people's feet, so just check in. This is your practice. Move with your breath. Inhaling forward, exhaling backwards. And then find a nice stable tabletop position. Activate arms and chest so you're nice and solid in your foundation. Take the right leg back, even with the hip. Press through the right heel. We're going to inhale as we draw the right heel out. Exhale as we take it past the left leg. Inhale out. Exhale, pause. Toes can be tucked or untucked on the left foot. Try to keep this movement entirely in the right leg. Stabilize your back, your chest. Take the right foot out to the right. Hold here. Think about the heel, long and strong in the leg. Now take little tiny circles with the heel, as small as you can make the circles. Trying not to move through the back. And then reverse the circles. And then take the heel even with the hip. Press the heel to the ceiling, bend the knee. And little tiny pulses of the heel up to the ceiling. Lower the toes, press through the heel option to keep it static and hold, or little pulses. Really feeling the back of your leg. Imagine you could pull from the bottom of the calf muscle all the way down towards the ground. And then slowly reset, set up your base so it's nice and strong. Left leg out, even with the hip. We're going to inhale, pull the left leg open. Exhale, cross the right leg. Inhale, open. Exhale, cross. Inhale, pull the left leg open to the left. Hold, strong leg, little circles with the heel. Tiny, tiny, tiny controlled circles. Activate the left glute, activate the right glute to keep you stable. And then reverse your circle. And then bring the heel even with the hip, bend the knee, little pulses to the ceiling. Lower the toes, static or little pulses on and off through the back of the leg. And then slowly back to tabletop and down dog, warming up your down dog in whichever way works for you. Swaying the hips, pedaling out the legs, arriving in the pose. And then find the stillness of down dog. Find your breath. Bend the knees, look towards the hands, and then make your way to your hands. Feet underneath hips, forward fold. Let go. Bend the knees, inhale all the way up, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. Start to make it a little bigger, lifting up off the heels and lowering down to baby chair. Trying to find more and more muscle engagement in the legs. Slow your movement down. Find control. Find mind-body connection. Option to lower the heels and come to baby chair, or keep the heels up and come to a baby chair. Hold here. Firing up the legs, so imagine you're squeezing the knees together and at the same time trying to pull them apart. Find more muscles in your legs. Soften your lower back, soften your face. And we're gonna move small and with control here. So a teeny lift of the hips with the inhale, a teeny lower with the exhale. Trying to get really strong in the legs, challenging your balance if your heels are lifted. Try to find more activation in the legs. And if you like to challenge yourself a little more, you're going to start to really lower the hips and lift. Wherever you're at, lower the heels and come on up to mountain pose, hands of prayer. Find your center. And then inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive it down. If you have a block, grab your block. You're going to hold on to the block, take the tension out of the neck and shoulders, and we're going to work through the backs of the legs, small first. So plant your feet, lift your toes, wiggle your toes. Start to activate the feet. And then we're going to bend the knees and then pull the hips backwards. So we're looking to have a little bit less tension through the lower back, bending the knees and then pull the legs backwards towards straight without pulling the knees backwards. So we're sending long legs without pulling and locking on the knees. And then take the feet a little bit wider, perhaps about mat width apart, and then same thing. Bend the knees and then pull the legs towards straight. It's really just trying to find and activate the muscles in your legs. Get to know what is there. Step the feet back in hip width. Take the left foot a little bit further back, so about 3 feet back. We're coming to pyramid. We're going to hold on to our block in pyramid. So nice long back, trying to get your back even with your hips. Find a comfortable position for your legs. So wiggle your ankle, your back leg around until it's at the right angle, where you can feel like you're opening up on the right leg from the heel to the hip, without straining knees or ankles. If this is not intense enough, you're going to try and peel up the toes of the right foot. Breathe. Slowly lower the toes of the right foot. If you lifted them, switch legs. Right foot goes back. Find the position where the right leg, knee, ankle is comfortable. And then focus on opening up back of left leg. Maybe peel up the toes of the left foot. Breathe. And slowly lower the toes if you lifted them and step back, feet underneath hips. Touch the ground and step back through plank straight to down dog. Connect with the back of your legs. Maybe they feel a little more open. Maybe they feel a little more warm. Start to really have an experience in your legs. Lift the right leg with an inhale, bend the knee, and step through. Lower the back leg, untuck the toes. Come on up. So you can have your block here. Try pressing down the top of the left foot first. Stepping forward, wiggling forward, finding that position where both legs are comfortable. Press down on the foot so you're less weight on the back knee. And we're going to move here. So may need to have your block just to keep you stable and give you something to help you lift the body weight off the back knee. We're going to inhale here. Exhale, press into the left foot. Actively send the hip backward. So inhale, Left hip comes forward. Exhale, press into right foot. So right leg is active. Send the hips backwards. So you really want to connect with the back of the leg and the front of the left hip. Move with your breath. Hold on to your blocks if you want to keep yourself a little more stable. Remembering our focus here is on the legs, so not looking to increase any tension or agitate anything in our lower back. So mindful, lift your back up. Take your back out of the game for this one. Send the hips backwards. Maybe you can wiggle the right foot a little bit further forward. Perhaps even peel the toes up. Once you get here, watch for locked right knee. Press into the heel and then feel like you're pulling the heel back to the hip. See if you can find a little more stretch in the back of the leg. Breathe. Notice the difference between a static hold and a moving stretch. Lift up a little, take the weight off the right leg a little and wiggle it across the body. So wiggle it across past the left knee, press the heel down, and then feel like you're pulling back towards the right glute again. Perhaps feeling a little more opening across the glute space on the right side. I'm going to feel the stretch right here. Piriformis, Kaylee.
I would just do the better, easier stretch. I don't feel it.
Slowly bring it back. This time all the way open the other side. And we're going to use our block to stabilize. Activate the left leg, so press into the heel. And then we're going to move the knee slow and soft. Inhale, open, exhale, squeeze it back. So very mindful where it's tiny movement. We're using the inner thigh to make the movement happen, and we're being very careful with the knee. Pay attention to your own holding patterns, your own strength. Maybe you can start to move around a little more, play a little more, being mindful of this back knee, being mindful of anything you have going on in your knees and ankles. Take it slow. Have an experience. And then slowly wiggle the foot back. We're going to untuck the back toes and pop up this back leg, low lunge. So from here, if you have your blocks, you're going to hold on to your blocks. Otherwise, you're going to try and lift up and be really strong in the torso first. Low lunge, then start to send this front leg towards straight. Options to peel up the toes, maybe a little bend in the back leg to help with your balance. Maybe you can even challenge your balance here. Breathe. Try not to lock the front knee. So you want to feel like you're pulling all the way up to the right hip, leg strong and active. And then slowly, low lunge, frame out the front foot, down dog. Notice left and right sides. Slowly peel up the left leg, step through low lunge, lower the back knee, untuck the toes. And we're going to move and breathe. So set up carefully first, find the position. So traditionally this is taken left foot directly in front of the hip, but if your hip is different, if there's tightness in your hip that you feel here or your ankle feels it, wiggle your foot around and find the comfortable position for you. Inhaling forward, opening up right hip, exhaling back, trying to connect with the back of the left leg. Inhale forward and exhale back. If you're super strong in the front muscles of your legs, so in front of your knee, in front of your shin, you can even lift up off this back knee. So you're really pulling forward, staying off the knee when you come forward. Lifting up, pulling yourself up out of the ground with the muscles of your leg. Can you do it?
Yeah, my knee would cracked. It was weird.
Got to do it slow, careful, mindful.
I was.
So when you lift up, pull the hip forward if you're coming off the knee. And then find hips back. Wiggle the left foot forward a little bit more. See if you can find a little more length. Press into the heel and then feel like you're pulling back all the way to the left hip. Hold the static stretch. See how it feels different. Maybe you can wiggle around, get a little more space, wiggle the foot a little further forward. Breathe. Lift the left foot a little, just so you can wiggle it across the body, across the mat. Land the foot, and then we're pulling all the way back to the left hip. So you're looking for a stretch right in the piriformis space on the left side. Slowly wiggle all the way to the other side, opening up. Finding a way that you can land comfortable for both knees. Inhale, pull the left knee open using inner thigh. Exhale, pull it back. So really trying to find some muscles in the inner thigh. Keep the foot grounded. Nice strong legs. Wiggle it back to center. Low lunge, tucking the toes, lifting up the back knee. Strong low lunge. Trying to lift the torso off this front leg and then slowly send the front leg towards straight. See if you can find a little length, maybe even longer in your front leg. If you want to challenge your balance, you're going to lift up. Maybe even peel up the toes, watching for locking this back leg. Slowly lower the foot, frame out the front foot. High plank, down dog. Get really strong in the arms, little soft bend in the legs. We're going to lift the right leg. We're going to think about the hip. So take a giant circle opening up the hip, trying to go as slow as possible with this right leg. Trying to open up the hip. And then reverse your circle, nice and slow. So making a split pose isn't just about the legs. You gotta bring in the hips. Press the right leg up. And then slowly lower right leg. Switch sides. Left leg lifts. Slow, slow, slow circle. And then reverse your circle. And then we're going to move and breathe, thinking about freedom in the legs and freedom in the hips. So warming up and freeing legs and hips. Try not to think too much with this one. We're going to step left foot to left hand, right foot to right hand. Inhale as you rise up, press through the legs. Exhale as you lower down. Step right foot back, left foot back, down dog. Breathe. So we're going to do left side a couple of times and then move on to right side. So take an inhale, exhale, step right foot, left foot. Inhale up, exhale down, back, down dog. Hold and breathe. And then this time, we're going to start going without the pause in between. So step forward, left foot, right foot. Inhale, rise up. Exhale down, step back. Left foot, right foot. Rise up. Exhale down, step back. Right foot, left foot. See if you can find the backs of your legs to press up, come up, and then down. Step back. Switch legs, right foot, left foot. Inhale up, exhale down, back, down dog. Right foot, left foot. Inhale up, exhale down, step back. Right foot, left foot. Inhale, rise. Exhale down. A couple more, you can do it. Inhale. Exhale. I lost my breath count because I'm talking to them. All right, you're on your own breath. You know it. Step forward. One more time, you can do it. Step back. Hold the down dog. Find your breath and feel your legs. See how your legs feel. Do they feel different from when we started? And then we're going to step forward outside our hands again, this time holding Malasana. So holding yogi squat, you can hold onto your block to take some of the weight off your legs. You can place the block underneath your hips and take it more passive. Or you can hold active legs, take some movement, open up the hips. So if you're going to press your arms into your thighs, use counter force, so you're pushing your thighs back into your arms. Hold. You can keep sitting on your block if you're taking passive Malasana, or option to play a little here. We're going to hold on to the block and peel up a heel at a time, nice and slow. So trying to work through the feet, strong legs, strong feet.
Malasana and I have become friends. It's truly amazing.
I have to find another pose to torture you with. And then wherever you're at, lift your hips, feet parallel, and shake the legs out. So give that static shake, the somatic movement, trying to get the muscles in your legs to wiggle and soften. And then inhale all the way up. Exhale, purr to hand, heart. Hold. Find your center. Let go of what your shape might be. We're going to try and have an experience here. So holding on to your block, having your block handy is going to help here. Bring your feet back to hip width. So standing split, you want to try and have your hips forward. Oftentimes people open up the hip to get a little higher. That's not wrong or right, it's just a different pose. So we're going to start to find right leg. We're going to start to forward fold. So forward fold, holding this right leg, the weight onto the right leg. Start to lift the left, start to step it back, just toes on the ground. Hold here, strong in the right leg first. You're going to come forward. If you have your block, it's super handy to have your block and come forward onto the block. It gives you more space. Lift the heel of the left leg, strong and active. So press through the heel of the left leg first, then push it up. Trying to remain strong in both legs, and then you can slowly wiggle the torso down towards the ground. So maybe you got here, maybe this was easy, maybe standing splits is your pose. There's always somewhere else to go. There's never an end. So if you made it here, bring your right hand to the back of your right cuff. Look at the ground. Find your breath. Challenge your balance by bringing your left hand also to your leg. Breathe. You are welcome to lower the left leg, or if you want to further challenge, I recommend having the block just in case. We're going to lift our torso back up a little, just so we can lift the heel of the right foot. Pull it up. Try to keep that standing split shape. And then we're going to bend the right knee. Slowly arch up the belly and pull the left leg forward. We're coming to toe stand with one leg lifted. See if you can do it. And fall out and come to a seat. Take a second to take the legs out and wiggle them out. So falling out is part of the fun. Wiggle the legs out, loosen. Take a look at left and right. We only did one side, so see how they feel. And then we're going to come forward and work our way back to the other side. So standing forward fold. Let go first. Find your feet, find your legs. So one of the things that we often do when we're trying to balance or when we're trying something challenging is we push our knees back too far and we lock the energy in our legs. So try to keep soft knees, try to keep active leg muscles. So begin by bringing the weight onto the left leg, long in the torso, so you have lots of space in the low back. Take the right toes backwards. Press through the right heel. Slow, 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 lift the right heel. And then maybe you can start to bring the torso a little bit further forward, nice and slow. And notice if one side is different than the other. We are not even left and right. And then maybe you can bring your left hand to your left leg and your right hand to your right leg. Try not to grip with the hands. Stay loose and soft. Challenge your balance. Breathe. Soft face. Option to lower and come all the way to a seat. Take a break. Or if you'd like the challenge, we're going to toe stand on the other side. So lift up a little first. Give yourself a little space. Heel up, left heel, sorry. Arch the stomach, so pull up in that the cat shape. Slowly pull right leg forward as slow as you can, keeping it active, and then lower the hips. Yikes. See if you can pull it up to toe stand. And then bring it on down to a seat. Take the legs out and wiggle them and shuffle them. So that was all the challenging part. We are going to move back into splits on the seated position just to see how it's a different pose. So beginning by coming forward, tabletop position. Take a second to take the left leg out, toes down. Feel the leg. Notice how it feels different from when we started. Switch sides. And then we're going to pull the left heel forward. So option to bring your blocks so you have something to hold your body weight. So you go slower. Bring the left heel forward. Start with half split. So start by just feeling the left leg, moving the hips around. And then maybe with every movement you can start to wiggle that left foot a little bit further forward. I need more space on my mat. So you're going to start to wiggle it further forward, move through the hips, actively wiggling until you can wiggle down. See where you're at. Maybe you can get to the full split shape, maybe not. Move the legs, start to actively move around, feel where your body is at. And then slowly wiggle back out. And switch sides. So left leg goes back, right leg goes forward. Start slow, move the foot, move the leg, move the hips, wiggle. The legs are nice and warm, so moving in from warm legs is always helpful. Might have more space than you expected. Breathe, hold, soften. Experience where you're at.
My left leg is better than my right now.
So once you find where you're stuck, so find where you're holding, where you feel like you're stuck, tune into what feels like it's holding you there. Which part of your leg, which muscle, which hip, what is holding you? Notice. And then see if you can just send some fresh breath to that space. See if you can wiggle a little further. And then slowly reset, right leg back. And we're gonna come all the way down to Crocodile Pose. So take your time. Come on down. Find the ground. Soften, loosen. Feel the back of your legs. From here, we're going to do just a little bit of back, just to even ourselves out. So bring your hands to the ground, press the tops of your feet into the ground, find the backs of your legs. We're going to inhale, lift the shoulders, exhale, lower. This time, just trying to find the back. Using some of that strength and opening we found in the back of the legs to connect to the back of the legs and fire them up. And then lower, loosen. What can you let go of? From here, we are going to move into frog pose. This is not everyone's favorite. So if you have particularly sensitive knees, you can skip this. You can stay in crocodile. You can move into something you prefer. Bring yourself back to a tabletop position, and you're going to turn sideways on your mat so you have more space. You can bring the knees to the edge of the mat, back edge of the mat. You're going to turn the feet. Traditionally, people take the feet out. You do not have to do this, but make sure you turn your feet so your ankles are comfortable and so that you can come to the inner side of your knees. So this is where you want to land, on the inner edge, on the muscly part of your leg, not on the joint. You're going to land on the inner part of your leg. Have your hands down to take your body weight first. And then you can gently wiggle your knees a little bit wider. And then you're going to come down to your forearms. So you can hold your block, bring your block in front, place your head on your block. Once you get down to your forearms, make sure your knees and ankles are comfortable. You're going to move your hips around until you find the point where your hips are, that you find your inner thighs. The stretch is in the inner thighs. So you can move around and find the point that works for you. Everybody's a little bit different. If you are noticing this in your lower back, bring your head down a little more, maybe activate your stomach, so pulling your stomach a little more to the spine. Be mindful, have an experience. So we opened the hips front. This is opening to the outside, so opening in the opposite direction. Breathe and let go. This is a static pose, but you can move the hips back and forth if you prefer not to hold static. as you start to hold a little bit longer, maybe you can wiggle the knees a little bit wider. So lifting up and just pulling the knee a little bit more open. Breathe, let go. And then to step out of this pose, slow and mindful. Bring the toes in towards each other and then start to peel the body up, the torso up. And then you can start to wiggle the knees in. Come to a seat and loosen the legs again. I got Kiwi sage on my foot. Soften the legs, loosen, let go. And then we're going to make our way down to our backs, trying to have our bands handy. So we did all that opening work.
Shavasana time?
No, not quite. Nice try though. So we're going to open up the back of the legs just a little bit more. We're going to take the left leg down on the ground, foot down, knee up. We're going to wrap the strap around the right foot. So if you have the strap or the band, you're going to wrap it around the ball of the foot. And then once you get it, again, watching for the locking and pushing the right knee too far back. You want to try and have energy through the back of the leg. Take your time to set up your leg first. So feel your right hip and press it down into the ground before you try to find the back of your leg. So once you have your hip grounded, start to pull the leg towards your nose and let go of what you think this pose should look like and try to just find the back of your leg. So maybe you pulse it, maybe you just hold it static. Maybe you start to take the left leg down to the ground, leg straight. Right hand on the left hip to keep the left hip grounded. Breathe. Keeping the hip grounded. So right hip, press it down into the ground. Bring your foot so it's directly above the hip or a little bit past the hip, so closer to the ground. You're going to switch hands, so left hand holds onto the band. Keep the right hip grounded. Take the left foot across the body. So you're going to find a point where you can start to feel the stretch right into the right hip.
You mean right hip grounded?
Yes. Hip grounded. Push down. If you actively push down, you're going to feel the muscle a little more. And then slowly bring it back to center. Release the foot. Switch sides, so take a second to reset. Right foot down on the ground, knee up, left foot wraps. So on the ball of the foot, find the back of the leg. Ooh, mindful of the toe.
The toe.
I just yanked on my little toe.
Nice.
It was not happy about that. And then maybe you bring the knee a little bit closer to the nose. Maybe you lower the right heel. Just trying to keep the hips grounded. So you're having an experience in the back of the leg, not in the lower back. Slowly bring the heel back over the hip or past the hip, so closer to the ground. And we're going to take it across the body. So trying to keep the left hip grounded. Push it down. Actively push the hip down into the ground. Take across the body. Try to feel all the way to the left side of the foot. And slowly unravel. Left foot to the ground. Take a side sway of the knees and the hips. Bring the knees back about hip width. The feet a comfortable distance from the glutes. Take the right ankle and cross it in underneath the left knee. Activate by pressing the knee away from you with the muscles of the leg. So the whole right leg should feel nice and strong. Notice if this hip feels a little more open. Option to stay here, or if you feel super strong, you're going to press into the left heel, fire up both glutes, and lift the hips. Press the hips up. Open the hips. Huh?
Oh, that was crazy. My hip hurts.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, don't do it if it hurts.
Well, no, it didn't hurt
That's
anymore.
number one rule. Don't do what hurts.
No, it hurts.
Pain is your body telling you to stop.
No, it doesn't hurt anymore. It was like a weird pain and then it went away.
Slowly lower your hips.
Push
Slide
that pain.
right knee over. That's the wrong lesson. Yoga is not about pain. Bring the knees in towards your chest. Bring the heels towards your shoulders. You can rest your hands on your shins. Breathe. And again, we're looking for piriformis glute space on the right side. Soften into the ground. Slowly unravel. Left foot to the ground. Right knee stays up. Left leg up. Both hips grounded, so keep the hips grounded. Draw the right knee in towards the chest. Press the heel away. Trying to feel active and strong in the leg and the hip. And then bring the knee out towards the shoulder. Press the heel away. So drawing the knee in towards the shoulder, press leg away. Trying to keep the hips really still on the ground. So we're really thinking about moving the leg. Take the right leg really long, lower it to the ground and give it a wiggle. See if you can soften. Notice what's there. And then foot to the ground, knee up. Left ankle crosses under right knee. Begin by pressing the knee away from you with the muscles of the legs, keeping the hips grounded at first. And then fire up muscles on both legs. So right leg active, right glute active. Draw the hips up, squeeze and lift. Trying to push the left knee away from you while pulling the hips up. Breathe. Try to keep the rib cage down so you're not taking this all the way up into the neck. And then slowly lower the hips. Slide left knee over right and draw the knees in towards the chest. And breathe. Let go. Slowly unravel. Right foot comes to the ground, knee up. Left leg hovers. We're going to pull the knee in, press the heel away. So really trying to feel the leg. Maybe noticing some differences from when we started. And then draw the knee over to the left shoulder. Press the heel away. Trying to keep the hips grounded. So if you feel a lot of wiggling, if you feel unstable, try to bring the knee a little bit closer to midline, so not so far wide open. Activate where you can hold strength, not where you're starting to feel wobbly and you're taking it into joints rather than muscles. And then take the left leg long, drop it like it's really, really heavy, and let it wiggle on the ground. And then take both feet long with a little soft bend in the knee. We're going to take that somatic movement whole body. So trying to loosen everything. Bring your shoulders to the ground, as heavy as they can be on the ground. Maybe your arms need to bend, your palms up. Soften your hands. Think about softening your face, and then you're going to flick the toes back and forth so you get that little wiggle throughout the body, flicking the toes, trying to get as many muscles to wiggle and soften as possible. So somatic movement, letting go, the practice of letting go. Think of all that tension you hold in your body. See if you can get it to soften. Get the mind-body connection going. So notice what is soft and notice what is not soft. So maybe you notice one hip is moving more freely than the other. One shoulder is more free. Maybe your stomach on one side seems to wiggle more than the other. Just start to really check in and notice. And then take a really deep breath in. And with the exhale, let the body land suddenly with a sigh. Notice your feet. Notice your knees. Notice your hips. And notice if left and right sides are different. Notice anywhere in your body that seems to be talking. Maybe there's a hip that seems to be a little tight. Maybe a shoulder. Notice. Notice what your body is telling you. Check in. Let go of the attachment of wanting to know precisely every detail. So we're checking in to notice where there are things that are tight, loose, where we need to strengthen. We're looking for those things, but we're not looking to cognitively process everything. We're just looking to know, to check in, to have an experience, but not to need to know the exact reason, the memory. Just noticing and feeling and experiencing what is in our physical body. Try to let go of the attachment of the cognitive mind, to place everything in a descriptive and precise box. Begin to loosen and soften into the ground and take a check-in with your own body and your own mental, emotional state. Is this the perfect resting pose for you for the rest of this practice? Or do you need to adjust and find some other position for your body to be in? So Shavasana Pose is corpse pose. We come to a corpse pose because we want to be as close to a corpse as possible, practicing that letting go. We can let go of the attachment of it having to be a particular shape and think about the meaning of the pose. So we want to find the position that our body is most at rest in. And take a moment to think about the mind and the practice today and what you experienced. So a split pose can be so many things. A split pose can be just a challenging pose, a fun way to practice flexibility, to challenge ourselves. A split pose can be one of those things that we have as a goal in our mind and that we judge ourselves on. So perhaps we've had this pose that we'd like to do for a very long time and we're not getting there. We're starting to judge ourselves on it. Or maybe we had it once and we don't have it anymore and we're judging ourselves on it. So all of these things are attachments. Attachments to the way we think something should or should not be. And we're letting go. We're missing out on the ability to have the experience along the way, to notice what we learn along the way. Maybe it's just that we want to find a pretty pose to work to, and there's nothing wrong with that. Setting goals, setting little goals to work for yourself. Can we set these goals without attachment to the results? So setting a goal so that we know we are going to bring ourselves to the mat and discipline ourselves to come to the mat. But let go of the end result and just have the experience of what we learn on the way. So because we opened up our legs today, our meditation for today is going to be sending energy through our legs. So we're going to imagine an energetic pathway sweeping through our legs. So we're going to start at the sole of the left foot. And we're going to imagine drawing energy in through the left foot, up the left leg, across the hips, down the right leg, and out through the sole of the right foot. You can imagine your breath having a color, your energy channel having a color. You can imagine it working with your breath, so long as you're able to work with your breath without increasing tension around your breath. So imagine drawing in through the left leg, sweeping across the hips, and sending out through the right leg, drawing in fresh and sweeping away what's no longer needed. And then gently see if you can switch the direction of your energy, drawing in fresh energy through the sole of the right foot, up through the right leg, across the hips, and down through the left leg, out through the sole of the left foot. Drawing in fresh and sweeping away what's no longer needed. And then land in your hips. So maybe you land right in the hip joint, maybe you land right in between the hips. Find a place that's comfortable to land your awareness. So in the teachings of yoga, we often learn that the whole body is connected. So our emotions are connected to what goes on in the physical body. One comes before the other. It's a chicken and the egg. We don't know which one comes, but they're tightly connected. So we often think about our hips being our sense of home, our sense of being grounded. And tightness and tension in around our hips can often be related to feeling an unease about being grounded or a sense of home. So if you think about it, these are the muscles, like our glute space fires up, ready for fight or flight, and our digestion slows when we're ready to flee. So any tension around here is that unease of being comfortable in our base, being secure, feeling that sense of security and home. So I invite you for a moment, thinking about having worked on opening the hips and the legs and this space a little. Taking a few moments to really tell yourself that right here in this moment, all of your needs are met. Right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. I can soften and I can take a break. And if you know for a fact that this sense of home and security is a tough one for you to work with, try to let go of the attachment of fixing that problem. It's a big problem. Let go of fixing that and think about just building little tiny building blocks of moments where you feel secure. So landing in this moment, in this body, on this mat, in your breath for just a few moments. Right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. And then if you need to finish up at the 60-minute mark, you're going to start to bring some awareness to the physical body, wiggles to the fingers and the toes. You have more time to take resting in your resting pose. Please turn us off and take as much time as you need. Otherwise, begin to bring yourself into a fetal position on whatever side is calling to you, and take a moment to pause in the fetal position. So non-attachment, aparigraha, non-greed, non-attachment, and me thinking about living in simplicity too. So when we take these moments to remind ourselves that our needs are met, we can become more and more comfortable with what is present in our own lives and less reaching out and grasping for what we don't have. So we practice these things on our mat so we can take them out into our lives. And then slowly bring yourselves up to a seated position. Bring your hands to prayer at heart space, connecting left and right sides in front of our hearts. Taking a moment to really think about wrapping yourself in kindness and compassion and accepting yourself as whole and complete precisely as you are. No matter where in your journey you've been, no matter what in your journey you need to learn still, knowing that you are whole and complete precisely as you are, even though we're all changing. We're all growing, we're all learning. We are not broken. Honor your own internal wisdom, and from here wrap yourself in compassion. And then from this space, send it out. May we all know a lot of compassion and kindness, and a lot of connection. Thank you so much for joining us.